Into the shadows.
All right, here we are back for day 4, and we are now officially just over halfway through the camp. We've done 4 sessions, and we're going into our 5th session today, 4 to go, including this one. And what a fantastic day we've got lined up today. It's just getting better and better for every day. My secret guests, well, you see them already. Anna wasn't so secret, but I kept it a little bit secret that you were coming on, Kate. And absolutely delighted to have you along. Kate Caithness, obviously the president of the World Curling Federation. You've been instrumental in so many things within the sport since you took over as president back in 2009, if I remember correctly.
10.
There we go, but 2010. It was close. And obviously Anna Hasselborg, reigning Olympic champion, European champion, 4-time Grand Slam winner, and it's great. Five. It was. I thought it was 5.
Doing well.
Oh, gee whiz, it's not bad, eh? Can't keep up with you. And I'm delighted to even call you my club mate. That's the most important thing. So Anna, we're going to get to you in a minute. I just want to have a little bit of chit chat with Kate before we start here, Kate. Now I was going to ask you just, Kate, the state of curling within the Olympics. So obviously we've this is coming up to our Nagano, Salt Lake, Turin, Vancouver, Sochi, Pyeongchang, and now Tokyo. How's the state of curling within the Olympic movement?
Oh, we're in really great shape. I think everybody recognises, we are recognised as the fastest growing winter sport. Really happy about where we're going, and especially getting the 2 extra teams in the mixed doubles. I'll tell you, that was a big push to get that for Beijing. So we're now right across the board. We have 10 men's teams, 10 women's, and 10 mixed doubles. So really in a happy place.
That's phenomenal. Well, how's it looking? I know I've been listening to Inside Curling with Kevin Martin and Warren Hansen and whatnot, and they talked about, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could get more curling disciplines? How realistic is that, or is that a long way off?
I think to be realistic, no. I mean, our curling venue that we have just now is jam-packed. I mean, we start for 2 days before the start of the games, and we finish on the very last day with the women's gold medal game. So we go right, we have more TV coverage than any other sport. And so if we went to try to get another discipline in, we'd need another venue. And that's a long shot. So at this moment in time, I think we're really extremely lucky because, for Milan Cortina, they're trying to get in another discipline, which is you'll hear about in time. But with that in mind, some of the other sports are going to have to take a cut in their because we're only allowed 2,900 athletes take part in the Winter Games, so we have to keep to that. And I'm on the Programmes Commission that looks at all the sports within both summer and winter. So I'm on the cusp. I know what's happening on the inside. So I think we're extremely lucky where we are, to be honest.
And just touching on that, Kate, obviously you've been a trailblazer, being the first woman that's president of one of the major international associations that's connected to the Olympics. How's that process been since 2010 and now coming up to your last Olympic round here, 2022?
Yeah, next year I've gone, but there's only been 2 of us. Now there's 40 sports just now because we had the 5 extra sports in Tokyo just now, as you know. We have 28 core sports. 7 winter sports, that's 35 core sports, but every organising committee has the option of bringing in other sports particular to their area, and that's why you have these 5 extra sports that are in Tokyo. So of course, moving forward, I think within that time frame, there's only been 2 female presidents, Marisol Casada from triathlon and myself, although earlier this year, Annette Sorensen, one of your associates from your part of the world, Anna, she's come on as taking over from Peter Dawson as in golf. So we're now 3 female presidents. Still a man's world at that level, to be honest. And you've always got to be strong and everything you're saying early doors, and you don't want to be seen as being bolshy. You say, oh, there's women, but you have to really. But I'd say at the start it was a bit of an issue, not anymore. Everybody knows I got on so well with everyone, and it's been good for curling, to be honest, is having a female there, because I go to all these events and dinners, and of course you can imagine at this for the last 10 years only been 2 of us. It's Kate from curling. So you sit at a dinner table and they say, oh, so the conversation always turns to curling, not from me instigating other people. So it's great. It's been good for curling, to be honest.
That's fantastic. Can we just ask all the participants if you can just check that your microphone's off, please? Thank you very much. This is the daily. Can we make sure the cameras are off and the microphones are off? Now, Kate, we've always delighted that you've done this job and been a trailblazer, and having you here in the camp as well, I think is really important. We've got a huge number of young girls here as well, and showing them that way, because for me, curling isn't just about playing at elite level. There's so many different layers that you can be involved in our sport, and being able to have you on as well and showcase that side of it is really important for us too. What would you say is your proudest achievement during these 12 years that you've been at the helm?
Well, if I could just take it back another, I've been actually, 1998 was when I came on board with the World Curling Federation. So within that time frame, I have to speak about wheelchair curling. As you know, it was my baby. I started the sport. Well, I was instrumental in helping the sport, and then I think my proudest moment really was getting wheelchair curling into Paralympics. That was a huge step forward. And then from the Olympic side, obviously, is the mixed doubles. I mean, that was a real to get mixed doubles, and I know we only started, now we've gotten up to 10 teams, so I'm really happy about the mixed doubles, and it's a fabulous discipline, particularly for the young. They just love it, you know, and you know, this camp that you have just now, James, the people that are involved in your camp are our future. Are our future. Really, well, next year, of course, we're back to our World Juniors and Young Shopping. Thank goodness. I mean, that's been a lean year this past time, and I know that everybody will be trying, and I'm sure lots of the people who are part of your course will be really trying like crazy to get into Young Shopping for next year. And I mean, and they're our future. Always, no doubt. Our juniors, always.
No doubt. And do you have a message? You know, we're talking about all the people that are listening in now, all our campers. Do you have a message for them, Kate?
Oh, well, I have to say, I never had the opportunity ever. I was never good enough, to be honest. Okay, I did well in national competitions in Scotland, but never. And of course, the Olympics went around when I was at my peak. I can say that. But I mean, I think your goal, everybody's goal, of course, is the Olympics. But the Olympics is at the top of and there's only so many people can get there. I think it's just a case of enjoying the sport. Sport's to be enjoyed, of course it is. And if you get enjoyment out of the sport and you get success, that's the main thing. And I think our sport is so particular. And I say to so many of my other, so there's 7 winter sports, and I say to so many of my other contemporaries, presidents of the other sports, you must be so jealous of my sport. I can go anywhere in the world, and go into a curling rink, and I'm made welcome, not because I'm the president, because I'm a curler. And that's what it's all about. And I think the spirit of curling has to be at the very top of the peak in anything we ever do. So I don't know if that's answered your question, James.
I think that was a perfect answer to that question. And we had talking about mixed doubles, we had the whole podium on yesterday with Caitlin and Martin and Christine and Magnus, and that was the first time they were all together, and it was so nice. And you know what? It was funny. I got a message from Caitlin after the session saying, "Thank you. That was really," and she was thanking me, saying it was really nice to be all together and to do that as a group. So that was really nice to get that back. And I think that is exactly what you're talking about with the spirit of curling and that feeling.
You're a big family. We're one family. Always.
Right. That's very sure. So Kate, we're gonna move on here with Anna just in a second, but I think from everyone in the session here, and also from all the curlers around the world, I'd like to personally say a huge thank you for all the work that you've done over the time you've been in the World Curling Federation, and certainly as president, and as a personal message, thank you for all the time and all the time you always have for me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, James. It's been a real pleasure being part of this, and I'm very happy to pass on the baton now to my wonderful friend Anna, who must be one of the best ambassadors we have for our sport. So Anna, seriously, I say that to everyone. I love your team, everything about you and your team. You're great ambassadors for our sport. Sportsmanship, you, Gil Shore, very close to my heart. I just love them. So I'll pass the baton over to a very worthy participant? No. Anyway, all the best. But thank you very much, James, for allowing me to be part of your camp, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Kate, and say hi to Ron from us all.
Okay,
Wow,
take care.
I tear up to get that. It feels like getting a compliment from like you're the number one. You know that. You are.
Thank you, Kate. Well, you have a good rest of your summer and enjoy the Olympic season.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So from one fantastic female curler to another, Anna, welcome.
Hello, thank
Great,
you.
great to have you here, and we can all hear you perfectly well.
That's lovely. I just gotta tell you about a moment like at the Olympics. They had like a big screen, and before every game, there was for the fans. They had some curling trivia and Olympics trivia, like running on those big screens. And I didn't know before that, and it came up that Kate was the only president at any sport at the Olympics. And then you just feel like curling, yes. Curling
That's
is doing
cool.
it right, and I take so much pride of being an athlete of one of those, in one of those sports.
Sure. And just quickly, Anna, what does Kate? You touched on it a little bit, but what has Kate meant for you personally?
First of all, like like I look up to her as a person. The calm that she brings in every room. She's like, without being loud or taking too much space, she's just the center of attention. And to give a hug and a congratulations from her after a big win is it's almost like a goal for me. It's she's definitely, she's up there. And for just for being a curler, I think we don't even understand how much she has done for curling. I know because my dad is involved with live streaming curling and having a production company, and I know that like herself has brought so much of like why curling is being broadcasted at the level it is, because she has been so like really trying to move that forward. So she was very eager and very curious and making sure that curling was broadcasted in very early times, and invested a lot of money and time in investigating different options for that. So she's very even though she has some age to her, she's very young and in her mind.
That was a perfect way of putting that, Anna. Very good indeed. So, yeah, Kate's meant a lot to a lot of people, all of us within curling, and of that we're very grateful, as I've said. So, cool. You know what? I prepped a little bit of chit chat to get you just some warming up. But
Yes.
It feels like we're already warmed up. I'm gonna throw the warm up questions for you. Two favorite ice cream flavors. We talked about this earlier in the week.
Ooh, two favorite flavors.
Yep. You have to pick two.
I guess we have some international guests here, so you go and think I'm crazy, but licorice. Yep.
That's one.
That's one, and some mango sorbet.
Oh, that's nice. If
Yes.
it's good mango sorbet, that's nice. All right. What superpower would you choose? Invisible or invincible?
Oh, invincible.
Invincible. All right. And you're a mum now, as we've talked about. Mira's just over 1 year old now.
Yep.
Just over 1 year old. Still haven't met her. We've got to fix this soon. This is starting to get frustrating.
Pandemic.
Yes, exactly. So now you're a mother. You have to choose early morning or late night.
Ooh, late night.
Late night. Okay, that's cool. We figured that out. We had a late night guest on from New Zealand asking questions yesterday. He works on the Sam. He works on the luge track down in New Zealand, and he was up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching the session.
Oh wow!
And then he was going to work, so that was kind of cool. Huh?
That is some effort. Wow.
Some dedication. We like a bit of dedication.
Yes, that was the word.
Okay, so Anna, let's get into this today. We're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to get into about tactics, about team dynamics, communication, and how important it is that everyone's on board with what you're doing. We touched a little bit on it yesterday with the mixed doubles, with how you can save time by everyone understanding their roles and the tactics. So I want to get onto that. But I'd just like to start off giving the background, because everyone will know you as Anna, the Olympic champion. Now, before that, obviously, you won the World Juniors, and then you put this team. You'd had a few different teams, but then you put this specific team together with the goal of the Olympics in mind in 2014, 2015?
15. No, 15, 16. So even later.
All right. And you guys were pretty awesome straight away for being a new team. How did you manage to get that process started? How did you hit the ground running?
So maybe like when looking back, I guess we thought that we were pretty awesome, but at that time we still thought that we were struggling somehow. Like, so what, to take it like in a short time, so what we first did, we wanted to have a clean slate. So we sat down and talked and said that, well, nobody knows how to perform on top, because obviously we are not where we want to be from our old teams. So we just tried to put everything that we know about ourselves and each other behind us. And now let's just have some couple of months where we just get to know each other and actually get to know yourself. So we did that during the fall of 15. And then in December, we thought that we need to speed this process up. So we started to work with a mental coach, working a lot with team dynamics. And then we found some key words, some key behaviors that we have kept ever since then.
Now, that process of being quite open and being raw, it can be quite naked. It can be quite scary. I mean, there must have been situations where, and I'm thinking of this for the juniors as well, it's quite scary to open yourself up because you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
How did you create that atmosphere of security within the team to allow that process?
So one of our key word is trust. And we talk about trust in everything we do. So if we, before every game, we check in the game. And we even, at this level where we're at now, we are still talking about trust. So for us, trust is one of the most important thing, and that is trusting yourself and trusting your teammates. And I think you got to have that in order to create that safe environment, and to decide that whatever we're doing here, we're going towards the goal that everyone wants to go at. So we don't have time for being unnecessary, unpolite, or we don't have time to be mean to each other, because that is not taking it's not taking us anywhere closer to the goal. And in that kind of environment, I have always felt very safe, because I have always felt that I have trust in Sarah for bringing up stuff that maybe I need to change or do something more of, because she likes me doing that, because I know that will take us faster and better to the goal. So I think a very goal-orientated and trusting environment where you have respect for each other, for me, that has always felt very safe.
And once you got that process going, and obviously, as I said, you hit the ground running and you got some really good results, and you started establishing yourself on the Grand Slam circuit. But it kind of took a little bit of I wouldn't say a stop, because you were developing the whole time, but you were making a lot of quarterfinals, semifinals. To get that last little bit, because this is a big thing in sport, getting the last sort of 5-10% out of your capacity. How did that process look?
So looking back at it, it's we followed a very clear pattern. So the first season we were in a lot of quarterfinals, and it was like we were giving our all the time, and when we came to the quarterfinal, we were a little bit almost too tired, and we couldn't step up in the game that we needed to do. And the season after, we got to all the semifinals, and then in the semifinal that happened again. And the season after, and that was actually the Olympic season, we got to all the finals. So the Olympic final is actually the first final that we win.
Good timing.
Yes, good timing. But I think what we did was to have trust in the process, if that makes sense. So I think that both like a mix of patience, but still an unpatience. So we had trust in the process of, if we continue to play these games, we will still put ourselves in a position where we can win them. So if we just continue to play them, we will win them, because we will learn to not lose too much energy in the round robin. We will learn not to lose too much energy in the quarters, and then we will learn to not lose too much energy in the semi, so we can step up in the final. I think I think it's so important to remember that every game you play, you are able to learn something from. And I think that we are still learning from every game we play. I don't think that a game where I come off and say like, oh, I don't know why we lost that. But at that moment, like if I feel that, that is the moment where I probably will stop play curling, because that is what I love. I love coming off after a game, even if I lost. I have to just pick it to pieces and think about what I did wrong and what I can do better. So I think that is the big process of take that extra step and the next step. Like if there's just one thing that you can turn the screws on, that could make you win. And we have I always say, like before we go out to a game, I always say, you never know which shot is going to be the game winning shot. So you don't know if it's going to be Sophia's first draw around the center guard that sets up the end, or you don't know if it's Agnes' double peel in the third, or if it's Sarah freeze in the fifth, or if it's my draw for the win in the 10th. Like all those shots that I said before could be the game-winning shot. Like you don't know. So then you have to just play every shot as it is the game-winning shot, regardless on which position you are on.
That's a fantastic tip. Now you're talking about energy, and especially for a lot of the guys out here and girls, they're going to be aiming to, like Kate was talking about, to get to World Juniors maybe this year. Now, going to a championship is very special, and especially for the first time out, and maybe the first time you play in any event, actually. You're talking about energy. Are you talking about physical, psychological, bit of both? And how do you actually save energy during a long competition? Can you give some tips?
The boring answer is experience. You gotta be in. I most talk about the mental aspect of energy, because I think you got to be in many big games, so you learn how to be in them, and when you recognize something that doesn't take as much energy when you have been in those kind of games a couple of times. But for me as a junior, when I was a junior, I had a lot of energy, and I was a very energetic player, and I am still very I feel a lot on the ice, but I think that I have found my balance a little bit more, and I did that the time I started to play with a team that I was trusting, because then I was stopping to try to control every aspect of the game. I just focused on what I can bring to the team. I didn't try to correct or overdo anything for my lead or for my second. So that was a big way for me to get better as a player and to save energy, to just trust my players and to only focus on whatever I can change and control. But also at the World Juniors, I think just or in any event, I think everyone should just think through the whole competition and just okay, so we're playing that team on that day, and that could be a very close game, and then we have back-to-back for that team. So just think through, so nothing is as a surprise. I think that is a good way of saving energy.
Sure. And I'm guessing, I think you were in on this, but it's tough to jump over that phase. You have to go through it, right?
Yes. And that's a little bit where you just have to have trust in the process, I think. Our first World Juniors, we came sixth, and we came there with full of confidence, and then we had a very tough draw schedule. So our first 3 games were against Russia, Scotland, and not Canada, Russia, Scotland, and some other top team. So we, looking at the table, we were 0-3, and that was a learning experience to not look at the table because it doesn't matter if you're 0-3 after the first game, because if you win all the others, like, it doesn't matter. But you have to be in that situation in order to learn that. But we got really, really scared from seeing Sweden 0-3, like in the bottom of the table, and that stressed us so much that we couldn't focus on playing well the other games. So we lost a lot of other games and finished sixth. And the year after, I had gone through that, and the team had gone through that, and then we ended up winning instead. So you just gotta learn from everything, and just have trust in that you can learn and go. Like, it doesn't define you what you do. Like the other day, you just go through with it.
And in terms of trusting your teammates and the whole process of that, if we move on slightly towards tactics here, how did you work, or how have you worked with this team, and how has it worked before with other teams that you've played on, discussing tactics and agreeing on a certain way of playing the game, or style of playing?
In our team, we discuss everything, but like, there's no secret that I am very, like, driven and interested in discussing tactics in our team. So I'm probably the one who always, like, bring it up. But my team is very, they hate when I don't talk to them about every little thing that's in my head about that. So that is a great way, because we challenge each other. So after a game, we rewind the tapes, kind of. So I say, like, in the sixth, why did this happen? And we take it from the last rock and go back, or we take from the first rock and go forward. And then everyone sits in and talk about it, and we talk about everything from talking margins, from talking like if we could have played it any other way. Was it like, so we pick it to pieces, and everyone is in on it. And then one thing that I think this team that I am in now, one of our strengths is that we rarely do one mistake many times. So, like, if everyone is on board on that, like, we hated this kind of miss, we haven't done that kind of miss many, like, we don't repeat it that many times after it. Of course it happens, like, you miss, but maybe you don't miss from the wrong reasons anyway.
Matt Hamilton earlier in the week was talking about his debrief, and their turning point, excuse me, at the Olympics was when they were almost out, and Schuster had to go away and blow off some steam and whatnot, and then come back and have a debrief. Now, a couple of questions about debriefs. Firstly, if you have a bad loss and people are emotional, do you always take it after the game, or do you let people blow off some steam and come back to it? So that's the first question. The second question is, do you have a set time that you do a debrief, and a set, almost like a manus, like a script of how you go through the debrief sessions?
Okay. Number one, I want everyone to write this down, because this is the most important thing. We never do a debrief before we eat. So write down, eat first, debrief later. Never
do a debrief hangry.
Never. So we have done that, and now we never do it. Never. It's almost like it doesn't even matter how short of time we are in between. Everyone takes a banana, eat it, now debrief.
Who's the hangriest on the team?
Everyone. So
everyone's hungry. Okay.
Everyone. So it would be awful. Like, no, never. So big important thing, and it like, honestly, I think we've saved ourselves so many unnecessary discussions from doing that.
That could be the ultimate tip for this week.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for, you have to train like this, or never do debrief.
Always eat before.
Okay.
Yep. And that's number one. And then number two, yes, we have a very set. We have a document that we have on our phone, before every game we check in the game and we go through the same bullet points every game, every 115 games that we play during the whole season. We go through the exactly same document, and then the same document when we check out, we have almost the same kind of bullet points lists, but more focus on the tactics and less focus on because before every game we have individual goals, and we feel that we don't have to evaluate the individual goals after the game, because that is usually just in a team with high performance people, evaluating your own performance usually ends up being self-critical. So then it's just more important to focus on stuff that we actually could take with us and change, and that is tactics, communication, stuff like that. So we set up individual goals, but we don't necessarily pick those individual goals into pieces after the game. We pick the bigger picture things.
And how do you avoid, like, now you guys are going into your sixth season together, sixth or seventh season, sixth season, I think,
Six, yeah.
A second Olympic cycle. How do you avoid, when you do the same process 115 times a year, 6 years in a row, how do you avoid getting complacent with that? Like,
that is a great question. Like, everyone in a team is different too. I usually have the more tendency to just to become like a little bit feeling that I'm like in a what do you call it? Like in a strut, no, like
in a rut, stuck in a rut.
Yeah, a little bit. Like so that is my tendency. So I'm usually the first one to say that I want to shake something up, and then but then you have to have respect for everyone in the team. So if someone says that I don't want to change it up because this is very important, that everything just keeps the routine, it's almost like then if someone says it's important for someone, it becomes important for me too, because if it's important for someone of my teammate and that makes them play better, I want them to play better because that is better for me. Then I could just like, okay, then I do it. But if everyone feels that, oh, now we're in a little bit of a rut, we're just repeating the same things and blah blah, then we don't do it. Like, then we decide to break the pattern, like, and we take an active choice of doing that. So then we just like, okay, this competition, we're not going to check in. We're going to focus on other stuff about like these kind of stuff instead. And we have some other goal, but we try to plan that going into the season. So we look at the schedule and we see we're going to play like 5 events in a row. Then maybe the 4th event should be something where we break it up a little bit like that.
Okay. Now, earlier in the week again, Matt Hamilton was talking about that in his team, John Landsteiner, he says nothing about tactics. He does the housekeeping, he cleans the stones, he cleans the path, and he has nothing to do with the tactics at all. I'm guessing that he is very involved in the tactics mentally, but probably doesn't say anything. How does it work for your team, and how important is it that even if the person isn't involved in the active tactics on the ice, how important is it that they are involved in understanding the tactics of the game?
I think that is curling. Like if someone would ask me what is curling, I think that one of the things that I say is that everyone in the team should be involved with the tactics, even if Landsteiner isn't saying anything, just by looking at his way of judging stones, you know that he is involved with the tactics, because he sweeps in a certain way. He making like the judgment in a certain way of because that is tactics too, and I think that is crucial for being a good curling player, is that everyone on the team should know where the rock is going to go, and where is the best place for the rock to be, and where is the worst spot for the rock to be. And probably the easiest way to put it, like in an example, so you understand what I mean, is that like, for example, I'm going to make a freeze on my last rock. And I say like maybe I forget to say tell my teammates that you can't bounce on this. I can never be heavy. And then because it's one of those shots, they have last rock, so it's okay for me to be 4 feet short. So because then we are still locking up the house very good. And then I release the stone, and the sweepers thinks that I'm good, but maybe heavy. Then I think the sweepers are doing a bad call if they go on clean. That is for me sweepers that doesn't understand tactics. That's maybe very hard of me to say, but just trying to give you the example, because if they go on clean here and I am good but leaning towards hard, they're not judging the rock on the margin side, like on the pro side of the judgment. Because if they go full up and the rock stops and it's not even into the house, but that's maybe even better. It's maybe not, it's like leaving it short maybe is better than bouncing. They have done the right thing of what I gave them.
And when you play these shots, Anna,
did that make sense? Did you understand? Yeah.
I understood at least. I hope everyone else understood.
Anyone will have to like raise their hands or something if they don't understand.
But I'm thinking like when you make these calls, Ed, for example, that shot that you just called, when you come down to the hack, then you and Sarah have discussed the shot, you call the shot, you going down to the hack. Do you say the margins? Do you talk about the margins? Does Sarah communicate the margins to Agnes and Sophia?
Yes. Yeah, we communicate them. As long as we are not short on time, because then we struggle a little bit doing that. And I'm not saying this is like an easy part that we're doing correct all the time. We struggle with this a lot. I think that this is like such an important way of being better at curling. So that is not, it's not that I like, oh, we've ticked the box. We know how to do this. This is like what we work on every day, every game, every shot. So yes, we usually show, like we bounce the broom on which way, like on which direction the stone could be. And I always come down and say like better short than heavy, or something like that. And sometimes it's like this shot is good as long as we have the line, and then the sweepers can do whatever with the rock. So it's all about communication, and it's all about that everyone in the team should understand the paths and the shots.
And how do you do that? How do you get everyone understanding the paths and the shots? How does that process work?
Communication, I think. Communication and learning from each other. Like playing a lot of curling and reflecting on a lot of curling. Like when you play the shot, like, because most of the shots you choose are like, what I feel when I watch junior curling is that I rarely disagree with shots. I sometimes just disagree with the level, like, of how hard the shot is. So like maybe, oh, that shot is great if you make it, but it's a tough one, like that. So but sometimes that is the right shot to choose. So like reflecting of those kind of things, like so what kind of margins did I give myself here? Like what did I give myself a good chance of making this shot? Or was it I have to make shot, then I just have to play it? Sometimes you don't even have margins. So,
and I guess you guys have got stuck in the rut at some point as well, because I think every team does, of discussing the margins too much. You get in the whole margin discussion. And how, if you're in a game, because that can also come with tiredness and with, I guess, physical and mental fatigue. How do you have anyone that's responsible for getting you out of the rut, like understanding that you're in that rut? How does that process work in your team?
The closest in time I have an example for that is we played Jones now at the last slam, I think it was, and we missed like almost the first 4 shots, I think, almost 5 shots, and we took a timeout on Sarah, and Sarah like asked Wayne Medaw about the margins, and she like, I don't see, like I don't have any margins on this shot. And he like just looked at her and is like, yeah, why would you need margins? You just gotta make it. Like, so I think he is very responsible of that kind of thinking in our team. And sometimes you just have to admit that there are no margins. You just have to make the shot because it looks shit, and we have to and we have to make something good here. But usually, if everyone is playing on the margin in the beginning, like on the lead and the second position, you usually don't have like end up in those kind of situations, because if you always just make something a little bit better all the time, you usually not end up in those kind of situations.
And in an end, then, say a normal end, an end of curling, do you, like every end you play, do you have like your own mental cutoff points, like after 3 stones that you make a cut? Okay, are we in a good position here, or are we behind the 8 ball? How do you break the end down like that, or do you take it stone for stone?
Oh, that was neither. I think that I think about the whole end. Like from when I start the end, I kind of think about the shots, like on the last shot. And then if we're playing good and everything, like then usually it plans out the way I was thinking before the end. But sometimes it's not even close, and then you get a little bit caught off, and then I think you need to think about more shot to shot.
Okay.
And that is so hard. That is something that I need to be better at too.
Now, I've got one more topic that I'd like us to touch on before we go over to the question and answer. And Petter, I know, has invited everyone to post their questions in the group. If you haven't already done it, please pop some questions in there for Anna so you get yourselves ready. Now, I've known you for a long time. And one of the first times I ever met you, and I tell this story all the time, but I always think it's a funny story to tell, was when you were homesick from school. And I came in to speak to your mum and dad, and there was Anna in bed, tucked up in bed with her old VHS video cassettes on, watching curling on her sick day from school. Now, I've always I think you were 7 at the time. I've always experienced you as a real student of the game. And my question is, I mean, you can watch curling, and I've gone through different phases myself of just purely watching the game and enjoying it, enjoying the show. But if you're looking at it as a tool for analysis, how do you watch curling? How do you analyze the curling?
I think the easiest way, and maybe the best way for me, is to choose like on this game I'm going to watch this thing. So, for example, we watched the Olympic finals before we went to last Olympics. But we said that no one is going to comment on the tactics at all. We're just going to watch the communication. So we sat down for as many hours 2 Olympic finals are. And only watch the way the teams were communicating within the teams, and like the way the communication changed, and how they adapted for the nerves and stuff. And so that is one way of watching. I think like we just pick one thing, and that was very, very, I learned a lot from doing that, like a lot. And then usually like then sometimes you just like I'm going to watch whatever they do with the second first rock in every end, kind of like, so pick different parts that you would like to kind of focus on. I think that is the most giving way of looking at, like, try to learn from watching.
And do you ever go back and re-watch, like with different sets of glasses on, with tactical glasses, with communication glasses, with whatever it might be? Do you ever watch the ends again and again and again to pick up different parts or segments of games?
I've done that, definitely. I haven't done it as much as like the last couple of years because I've played so much. But I've done my share part of doing exactly that, and giving like and getting a lot from it and learning a lot from it. So whatever you do in your juniors, I think you put a great base on who you're going to, like how you grow up into the curling world. So I think everything I did around my 15-ish years and 20th, I think for all the like nerdy hours that I've spent, because I definitely have brought them with me, even though I'm not doing exactly the same things right now when I'm older, but I have done it, kind of.
Do you watch the games? Obviously, you watch curling by yourself as well, but do you watch the games together with your teammates to focus on different things if need be? Do you watch your own games? Do you watch other games? How much do you analyze your own team against how much do you analyze opposition? There's a lot of questions there. Sorry.
Yeah. It's hard to say like one straight answer, because it's different depending on what kind of thing that we're focusing on becoming better right now. Like we don't have like it's not like that, like this is what we do every week. We watch this game, we watch this thing, we're doing this and this. I think that we are adapting from what we, like if we are in the tournament and we see that Jones is picking 3s and 4s out of every team they play against, like stuff like that. Then we go in and watch Jones playing all those games and see what they're doing. So I think that kind of like thing we're doing. And then we have some of the moments where we've learned most about ourselves is when we force ourselves to watch games that we have lost. Big games that meant a lot, that was painful to rewatch, that we almost feel embarrassed of watching, but we have done it together, and we have done some really, really important learning experiences from those. But so there was no clear answer there. I think we do what we need, that we think we need to do all the time in order to be better.
To be fair, it wasn't a very clear question, so I think I got what I deserved on that one. So I have one clear question.
I think that maybe a lot of other teams are having, maybe like from Scotland or China, I think they record all the games, and I think they have like in their after game routine, in their debrief what do you call it, sessions, they do rewatch the games and stuff like that they have them in their routines. We don't have that in our routines. It's more something that comes from us and said, this we need to watch, and this is because I want to know how this ended up, like stuff like that.
Okay. And the final question, just as a follow-up question to that, once you've analyzed something or seen something, do you tend to work at it until you've got it down, or do you work at it over a specific time and say, okay, this competition, this is the main focus? Could be communication or whatever it might be, as a small detail. Or do you have like segments of the season where you work on certain things?
I think like if there's something that we're not happy about in one competition, we look at it. I think then we debrief it, and then we put it on the goals for the next tournament, and then we evaluate it after that tournament if we had any process, like if we developed anything, and if we didn't develop, we continue to put that in our goals until the whole team can say check. That is, like, we always say check. Check. Yep, we have done that. Check.
That's cool. All right. Well, I'm going to invite my main man, and this is someone you know very well, of course, P Daddy. Where are you, P Dog?
Hello.
There he is.
Hello.
With the NJCT hoodie. That's my boy.
Looks
I'm
so
from
good.
the hood.
I'm jealous.
From the hood.
Thank you.
If you're really
jealous of the shirt or the beard?
Both.
If you really want Anna, I'll get you one.
For the next session.
Yeah. All right. How's the question and answer shaping up?
Well, not as many as they're actually just more are coming in. So I think we just start and you tell us when we need to finish off, James.
Sure. I reckon. We've got. I mean, we'll have a good 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 25, something like that.
Cool.
It's Anna. Anna's the boss here. She tells us when we finish off.
That's good.
I'm booked
So-
for 5:30, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
in the morning.
Exactly.
Isla from Edinburgh, Scotland, are you ready to ask your question?
Yes.
Perfect.
How do you stay positive in a game if your team falls behind?
That is such a great question. We have worked on this a lot. I personally think it could be very hard to stay positive. And for me and for the team, we have found that if we are not trying to focus so much on how it should feel, more about like what you're doing, like the behaviors that you're doing, and just let the feelings be whatever they are, and then just focus on being in the details and in the moment and trying just to do the behaviors that you normally do. I have felt that you kind of can overcome negative feelings or stressed feelings. So just being like, this is how I clean my rock. This is how I take split times. This is how I call the shots. This is how I communicate to my friends. So stuff like that. Focus on the little things. Break everything down to pieces and focus on that.
And my other question was, what advice would you tell your 10-year-old self if you met her?
Mm-hmm.
I asked that question because I'm 10 myself.
Are you 10? Okay. Wow. I would tell.
These are great questions for a 10-year-old, I have to say.
There is such a good question. And you play curling?
Yeah, I've played it for 2 to 3 years.
Wow. So you started the same age as me then. That's cool. So I would tell Anna, 10-year-old, to be patient. And I would tell her what I told you early in the session. I would tell her to have trust in the process and to enjoy the ride. Like, enjoy whatever you're doing, enjoy every practice, because if the journey isn't worth like what you're doing, if you're not having fun during the journey, no goal is worth it. The journey is what should it should be so much fun. It should be just we do sports because it's fun, so the journey should be worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you for great questions and good luck. So nice to see you.
Thank you, Isla. That was awesome.
That was really good questions. Much better than James. James, you're awesome too. Sorry, but those were brilliant questions.
Really good. So, and now we have from Haley and in Canada. Are you ready?
Hi.
Hi, Haley.
So my question was, what drills do you and your team do in practice to kind of work on your line call skills?
Wow, great question. I think what we're doing is to play games against each other. We usually play both colors and play against each other, and then we stop if we are not making it great, like if something we can be better at, we stop in that scenario and we talk through what we're doing. Then for line call more, I think that we also talk through what is the ideal line calling communication, and for that we have used a lot of different we liked how Brad Gushu were talking there, and then we loved how Evie Muirhead were calling that shot. So like we try to, and then but how does Team Hasselberg do it? So that's how we use inspiration, and then we try to find our perfect soup from lots of different things.
I like that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Haley.
Questions.
So hopefully I get this name right. Giza from Germany. Are you ready? And let me know if I pronounced your
Yes.
wrong.
Hi there. Yes, you did pronounce it right. It's in German it would be Gesa, but when we talk English, it's Gesa, so no problem here. Hi, Anna.
Hello, wie geht's?
Yeah, good, danke. Long time no see, but
Yes.
not in person. So, so my questions, being a coach, is how many hours do you spend on the ice a week?
Oh, such a hard question. Depending on where we're at in the schedule, because our normal pace during a season is like 2 weeks competition, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks competition, 2 weeks off. But I would say every like Monday to like if we're home for 2 weeks, then almost, except for like 1 or 2 rest days after a competition, then every day except the weekends maybe. So like Monday to Friday, curling and physical training every day.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that every day, all day, Anna, or?
Depending, like, of course, how many. If we're gone on a tour for 4 weeks, then I'm not going to the rink on Monday, coming home from Canada on Sunday. But if we're having like a good pace of 2 weeks, 2 weeks away, 2 weeks home, then usually take 1 rest day on Monday and then go back on ice on Tuesday. So then Tuesday to Friday, maybe the weekend off, and then Monday to Friday again, and then maybe 2 hours. Like we take the morning in the rink and the afternoon in the gym.
Okay. So now we have the recipe.
How long would you say those sessions are if you're on the ice?
I'm thinking more of rocks than I'm thinking of hours. Like
Okay.
if I'm on if I'm on the ice myself and I have something specific that I would like to train, then sometime I'm just on the ice 40 minutes. But if we're having a team practice, we can be on the ice for as many hours as it takes to fix that thing that we would like to do. So like a couple of seasons ago, when we were just put this team together, we went to Åland and had a training camp, and actually we were on ice for 5.5 hours straight, not looking at the clock once, because we were so focused. But now, not as much. So I would say 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more about repetition.
Yes, and like feeling that you're done.
Yeah.
Never leaving if I'm not feeling that like I nailed it as I wanted to have it.
I understand. Okay, so we have one more. And if you feel like you have a question and you don't feel like you have time to type it, just let me know in the chat and I'll let you in. After Kate from Newfoundland, Canada. Are you ready? Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Now's a good time to learn sign language, Kate.
I know a little bit. Thank you.
Do you want me to read your question, Kate? Okay. So, do you have a pre-shot routine? If so, what is it?
Yes, I do. I think it's hard to tell my pre-shot routine, but I pretty much do it all the time. I clean my slider, I clean my rock, I clean my slider again, and I clean the rock, and I stand up and I clean my slider again. But the most important thing in my pre-shot routine is that I always have some kind of discussion with my sweepers. And we're saying something about the path or the shot that I'm playing. And then I take like a breath before kicking out. But I clean my slider a lot. I have noticed watching myself.
Jacob just put a good comment in on the chat bubble. There's been some issues this week with people not being able to get into the chat.
Okay.
If you have any questions and you can't see the chat,
I can't, for example.
please send. But you're not asking any questions for yourself, are you?
No. I just tried to click here. Then I saw that you couldn't even click on it.
So if you have any questions but can't access the chat, please send us a message on the summer camp group on Instagram, the NJCT Summer Camp 2021. I was nearly going into Swedish there. Send it there and we'll see if we've...
Yeah, and just let us know name and country and we'll let you in. You don't have to write down the question if that's takes too long.
You can raise your hands here too, right? Yeah.
Yes, you can. But we're new school. We don't raise our hands.
What? Do you not do that? I'm a teacher. I get my kids to raise their hand. Of course you raise your hand.
That's old school.
Yeah.
New school.
All right. Old school's fine. There's no problem with old school. Petter, do you have a question for Anna?
Do I have a question for Anna? How does it feel being a mom and an Olympian? Or should I put you on the spot? What was best?
Oh, being a mom, of course. Yes. No, but the biggest change for me, I think, is that I am not the number one person in my life anymore. So because she doesn't care if I want to throw 2 more outturn peas. If she's hungry, she's still hungry. So, and she's been with me for this whole year, and her dad is taking over now in September. So it's going to give me some more space to throw those 2 extra outturns. But otherwise, it's been definitely putting some extra pressure on me, being very focused on everything I do. But it's been working great, and she is a lot of fun. She's a very happy one, but very energetic. Now she's running around everywhere, so I just have to save her life most of the times.
Have you put her on the rock yet, or?
No, I think this season will be her first on the rock season.
I might get to be there. I might get to be there for that at least.
Exactly. That's you're
cool.
there for the big things, James.
Oh, thank you. There we go.
we got another question on the Instagram chat
from Rebecca.
Rebecca,
I see someone is raising their hands too.
Junior. So first Rebecca from Canada, and then Junior.
Hi.
Hello.
My question was on your shots when Sarah comes down. Do you find it's mostly a discussion with her, or is it just a decision that you make? And if so, if it's a long discussion, how do you just make a decision so that you can go throw your shot and not use up a lot of time?
That is a great question. If I had if I knew exactly how we should do it, then we wouldn't struggle with time as we do a lot. But we have a way that we want to have it. It's mostly a discussion where I have the last saying. So that is something we've decided. It's always me that has the last saying. But we have actually also decided that everyone in the team has different roles and different sentences that they are supposed to bring to the team discussion. So if the whole team is down in the house discussing a shot, Sophia asks, what are the options? Agnes asks, what are the goals? And Sarah always asks me, what does your gut tell you, Anna? And then I make the choice by just giving them the answers for those 3 questions. I usually have I think it's easier to make the right call. So that is what we do. And when it's only me and Sarah, it's mostly a discussion. But if we get stuck in a discussion, she tries to break it up by just ask me, what did you first, what was your instinct? What did your instinct tell you? What was the first shot that you were thinking of, Anna? And if I tell her it was a draw, then she says, then we're making the draw. So Sarah is a wonderful. I usually say that if everyone had Sarah as their vice, like everyone would make a lot of shots because she is the best. She guides me usually and helps me take a decision. So, but she always asks me what my gut told me, and that I think is a very great question to ask your skip. That is what the communication that I like.
Thank you.
Thank you for a great question.
Thank you, Rebecca. One junior is holding up his or her hand.
Oh, that's me, Stefan. I'm behind my junior account on the Sundbyberg Curling Club. So hi, Anna. Super nice to hear you and all your advice. My question to you is, what trends do you see now in the sport? And are you picking up something and inspired by something, or what's happening from your view in the sort of elite sport?
Wow, that is a great question. I think there's happening a lot of things about sweeping. I think we haven't fully decided if we would believe in directional sweeping or not with the new brooms. So, and I think that is a big thing right now because a lot of teams do it differently. If you notice, for example, the World Finals, Edin did not do directional sweeping and Moet did directional sweeping. So I don't think you have to go home and try for yourself, because even the top 2 men's teams in the world are not agreed on that page. So that is probably the first thing that comes to my mind.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See you in the rink soon.
Yes, looking forward to it. See you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I've heard Stefan's pretty good in disc golf.
Me too. Kicked James' ass.
Yes.
Move along. Next question. Move along.
So the last question for today is from Gemma from Canada. You're on. Are you ready, Gemma? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll ask you a question then, if it's okay.
Perhaps you could put your camera on, Gemma, just to wave to Anna at least. Or not. It's obviously it's dark in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll ask her a question. What is the most helpful feedback to get from your front end?
Before a shot, maybe? Or
yes, let's say that.
So, yeah, for my no, but I think probably because we were talking about the whole team being involved. I think information about the path is the most important thing, and my front end is 100% responsible for making sure that they know exactly how many rocks have been in each path, and so that I think is very, very useful. And also I love when they tell me, like when they have one rock where they that they're like if I make the LSC draw and they refer to that rock, for example, saying, I think for this draw you need to add 2 meters from what you did on your LSD draw. That I think is great communication, very clear, very easy to get the feeling of what the words mean for how you should perform it.
Yeah, she's also wondering about during the shot.
During the shot, okay.
Both before and during, so you're all good.
That is, then during, I think for example, for a draw, I'm a cleaning freak, so as long I think it's close, I think it should be cleaned a lot. So I like when they're down there cleaning, saying it's there. But I hate when they're touching a rock that they're saying it's heavy, so they never do that because they hate that too, obviously, because they want it to be in the same spot. But during a shot, I also think it's so important to communicate all the time. So like sometimes you get quieter because you think that you've already said everything, but sometimes it's even more important to talk from hog down. So we talk about communicating all the way to the rock when it stops. And then I think every team differ there, but I think you as a team should decide, if you're a sweeper, if the skip and the back skip or vice skip wants to have the information about how much a rock is bumping or how much the speed is by itself.
Good.
Excellent advice. And just before you sign off here, Petter, this is your last official session with us here at the camp. You're coming back on Friday to present the coveted Unicorn Doubles Cup.
Yep.
It's a beauty, Anna. You should see this.
Wow.
It's a unicorn from Lidl and a chopping board from IKEA. It's a fusion of two worlds coming together. It's gorgeous, and it's a great thing.
And it's not engraved. It's what you call it, masking taped.
Masking tape with a Sharpie.
Yeah.
No expense spared on the NJCT here. But Petter, thanks for doing a great job this week. And your wife's birthday tomorrow, so give her all the best from us. Wish her happy birthday, and we'll see you on Friday afternoon. And Sarah Carlson's coming in to take your place tomorrow.
Yep.
Less of a beard, but same hoodie, so that's good.
Well, thank you for excellent questions to all of you, and for you as well, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for making this camp. I hope that I've made sense of something that I've been saying. Anyway, it's was a long time I talked English, and being on this, it makes me nervous too, guys. So I hope you have made some sense to what I've been saying.
Typical Swedish modesty. That's what I like.
And I have one last question for Anna before we get on. But we'll say thanks to you, Petter, and adios, amigo. We'll see you soon. And Anna, just to round things off for you. Obviously now moving into the Olympics, we're only 6-7 months out now from Beijing. First Olympics you were going into as it was your first Olympics. You know it was all new. Now you're going in as defending champions. How's that feeling? Is there a difference, or how do you feel about it?
I honestly haven't thought about it too much. I've been thinking about it, how cool it is to get it's a privilege to go there, because that was the most fun I ever had in my life. So I'm going to do it again, being there. So I think that maybe there's less things that I don't know about. Like last time I didn't know how would it feel being in the village and stuff, and now I know that. So, but in the same time, I also know a lot of other things that that was easier to not know last time. So I think there's there's pros and cons, but the biggest pro is that I get to experience another Olympics, because that is just so much fun. And defending champ, I'm not thinking about that too much either, because it's there's so many great women's team, and it was last time too, and there's easily 8 teams that could win it or could medal. So you just gotta be the best every day that you can be leading up to it, and then just have fun.
That sounds like a good piece of advice for life generally.
Yep. Maybe.
Well, Anna, it's been an absolute pleasure having you again. Your English is outstanding. No ring rustiness there. It was excellent. And as always, you bring in a whole bunch of great tips and hints and stories to the campers. So we're thoroughly, and there's a lot of people saying thank you on the chat. You can't see it, but I can see it. So from everyone here, a huge thank you for taking part and taking time out of your busy schedule with your daughter and your husband, your summer house, and your curling. So yeah.
Yeah, and James, thank you for bringing this camp together. I think everyone that's here loves it and enjoys it. And to everyone that has been listening, like if you meet me on tour, come up and say hi, and so we can have a coffee or just a quick chat or whatever. It's great to be able to speak a little bit to you, but I would love to have a communication. So come and say hi if you see me.
Excellent, Anna. So we're going to move on. You're more than welcome to stick around. We've got a few exciting things coming up. For example, in just a second, we've got the physical challenge for tomorrow from youth leader James Craik in Scotland. Mm-hmm. We've got the League of Legends with two-time Olympic champion Annette Norberg.
Wow.
And we've got the Jacob the Hare Hannah coming on with the social media prizes with we've got glasses from Spectrum, and we've got Hardline brooms. You like Hardline brooms, don't you, Anna?
I kind of love them, yeah.
And then
sorry.
And then just stuff to talk about tomorrow.
That's cool. I take my video off here and then I will listen in. So bye everyone. Enjoy the rest of the camp and good luck to everyone.
We'll see you in the rink soon, Anna.
Yeah, we do. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, great session together with Anna and with Kate Caithness. Exciting stuff, but we're not finished yet, guys. We've still got 10 minutes to go with lots of stuff to go on. James Craik from Scotland. And actually just a little bit of info when James is coming on here. James, you live in the same area as Kate Caithness, is that not right?
Yeah, that's true. Kate's actually maybe 2 kilometers away from my house. She lives. In the countryside. She plays at the same curling rink as me.
Have you ever played a game with Kate?
No, Kate's husband, I've played quite a few. Ron, he used to play when I was younger, playing at Edsel Curling Club. So yeah, very good player.
Wow, cool. There we go. Excellent. Well, James, welcome to Youth Leaders Physical Challenges. Now, James is, you probably all know, was the skip at the Scottish junior team that played in the last World Juniors a couple of years back in Russia, in Krasnoyarsk.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that right? I don't know if I'm butchered it, but that's good. So, James, what have you got in store for us tomorrow?
So for tomorrow, I've got a mobility type session. So it's not going to be as intense, but it's going to be more for what you can use during a game and in a tournament, etc. So I've got a warm up, a cool down, and then I have an actual mobility session. So the mobility session is not really used that much by a lot of junior curlers I see, but we used it a lot when we've been traveling, coming off a long flight. It's really good in a way to get your whole body moving, get out any aches and pains, and then kind of get you into that competition mindset for when you're going on. So I've got 20 exercises split over the 3. So I'll just quickly run through them really fast. So we've got back slaps, swimming chest swings, T-bar knee swings, a combination movement, which has child's pose, downward dog calf stretch, and a push-up. There'll be a video to explain all of this that'll be in the bio, I'm hoping, tomorrow. There'll be leg swings, overhead squats, open the gates and close the gates. That's the warm-up. The curler, which is quite an interesting one, but it's also known as pigeon pose. The pretzel, which is actually Hannah Phillips' suggestion. It's a really good stretch. Toe touches and a hand behind tricep stretch. And then the mobility session is easier to explain with video, but you'll see it'll make sense. So for the warm-up, obviously that's used primarily to increase your heart rate, prevent strain and injury, but it also helps you get your head into the game, which I think is really important for me especially. Like as a skip, you want to go in there with like a clear head, and just with a game plan. So I use that time as much to warm up physically. It helps mentally as well. For the warm up, still you're looking to carry out the exercises carefully. You don't want to injure yourself before you get on the ice, and carry out each exercise 10 to 15 times. For the cool down, very much similar, but the opposite. You want to stretch off your used muscles to prevent injury afterwards. And at the same time, you can use that time that you are stretching to reflect on your game, and maybe think of questions, things to talk about when you're moving into your debrief with your team afterwards. And you're looking to carry out each stretch for about 30 to 60 seconds, just as long as you really feel is necessary. And then for the mobility session, as I said, this was ideal for when you're going into a championships or you've been flying or something. Try and find an outdoor space. I find it's a really good thing to get all 4 of your team outside with your coach and just run through the exercises. You maybe need like a 10-meter strip, enough that you can take maybe 10 strides. And you want to carry out the exercises 6 to 8 times in a line and then jog back. Carry out your exercise 6 to 8 times and jog back. And you really want to focus on a full range of motion and just really dialing in there and just more getting, we'd say, nimble. And yeah, as I said, it's another activity for all your team to do as championships, and again, getting your mindset sorted.
And this is obviously good after, especially after a long flight, I'm guessing, if you've got jet lag and you've got to get the cobwebs off. Do you even use that if you're, say, going shorter flights to Switzerland or to Prague from Scotland, 3-4 hour flights?
Obviously, well, Russia was a 24 hours worth of flying. So when we got there, we were just dead. We slept, got up, and then it was our physio. We had a physio over with us, and he was kind of who introduced it to us. And we saw it as a really key item. And all of us were out the beds in the morning before the breakfast. We were out, did our mobility session, and it did help a lot. Like, we had no injuries at Worlds, whereas you see so many teams strapped, taped, needing to sit a game out. It's not a rare thing at all in our sport. So having experienced none of that as a result of the mobility session, I think it's a really key aspect for a lot of people to take into their teams. For the smaller trips and stuff like that, I still think it's good. I still think it's very valuable. It's just your whole team's together. It also makes a statement. All your team are dialed in, as other teams are maybe walking in with McDonald's after just cutting about the shops in a shopping mall. If your team are dialed in with your coach, it looks professional. It can be intimidating as well.
Excellent tips there, James. Just one quick last question. How is your team shaping up for next year?
We have a new team. So 2 of my team last year have aged out, and so we've now got 2 new players, 2 who we played in our national final. And yeah, we're in the gyms 3 times a week, on ice 4 times a week, plenty of team sessions, and a busy schedule ahead, which I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Well, if you make it to the World Juniors and you're on shopping, I promise to come and watch.
Well, that is the goal at the end of the day. So yeah, everything's gearing towards nationals in November, and then fingers crossed we might get to see you out in Jönköping. It'd be quite cool.
Let's hope. Let's keep fingers crossed. Excellent session after the hard CrossFit session and Robin's tough session today. 2 physical sessions. Now more mobility and getting the body loose again. So great lineup there, James. And good luck for your coming season. If anyone needs to get in touch with any of the youth leaders or questions, please get in touch with them on the NJCT Summer Camp 2021 Instagram group. Everyone's there. Thank you, James. Good work.
No problem. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, a couple more things to go. Let's do League of Legends now with 2-time Olympic champion, 3-time world champion, and 7-time European champion. How about that, eh? Annette Norberg. Let's make sure we've got the sound on here.
My advice to you is to enjoy the journey. Not only focus against the goals, have fun along the way, laugh a lot, be serious but not too serious. You will not be a successful curler if you go in the footsteps of others, so have the courage to go your own way. Best of luck and have a very good summer.
Excellent, Annette. There we go. And the good part about that, which I really liked, and that just timed in nicely. And obviously, Anna and Annette haven't synchronized that one. Same thing. Enjoy the journey. That's a good bit of advice. And even, we've talked about that before this week. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Both the some video from Annette Norberg's team when they won the 2 Olympics. There's a highlight reel. I think it's about 7 minutes long. I'm going to post that on Teams and I'll send it through to you. And James's session. I know I forgot to post Robin's session, but I have posted that now on Teams, and I'll post James's session tonight. Admin, so much to do. And that's why I have the next guy to alleviate my admin stress. Jakey, the here.
Hello.
Hey,
Thank
Jacob,
you. I'm happy to alleviate that stress from you. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for this awesome session. It's been great to listen to everyone and the fabulous questions.
Wasn't that a great session, Anna?
I know.
And I really love
how
she's our
Annette,
clubmate.
I know, what an honor, right? We get to see her in real life pretty often. Awesome. I loved how Annette's and Anna's answers were pretty much the same, even though they weren't synced at all.
Yep. It just shows you take the tips from the people at the top, and it's about focusing on the right stuff. Okay, Jacob, what have we got today, buddy? Yeah. We've got prizes.
We sure do. A pair of glasses and a broom. Different model today, eh?
This is the same model. So we had 2 models. We had this is the same model as the first, eh? Anjan, it's called. From Spectrum Performance Eyewear. If you haven't already been in, go and look at this. They're environmentally friendly too, and cool.
Shameless plug. Ding. Nice.
Well, who wins them then?
So for the glasses today, the lucky winner is Kate Young from Canada for putting together an awesome video and drinking her smoothie out of a curling mug, which was fantastic.
Oh, that was cool.
So I know, right? Congratulations to you. Also, like the jacket you were wearing, and I saw the Hasselborg jacket in the background, and I thought that was very fitting for today's guest. So nice touch there.
Wasn't it
awesome.
Ever? And there was, and I'd just like to say though, I was just in quickly and had a look at the list of smoothies coming in. Lots of great smoothies. I've got my whole fall season of smoothies planned now.
Yes, a lot of great recipes, a lot of different stuff going on. Cool. So for the broom, we have the lucky winner is, I apologize in advance if I butchered this name, Rebecca Desani from Italy. So congratulations to you. Well done. Great blueberry smoothie you got there. And I'll, of course, post the winning videos to our Instagram later today.
Excellent. There we go. Rebecca's getting the hardline broom. There you go, Rebecca.
Yes, congratulations.
Well done. I have to say, Jacob, your pronunciation was outstanding there. You got a bit of the Italian feel about it. Rebecca Desani.
I'm trying.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. So now we're moving on to we've got 2 days to go of social media competition. Yes. And tomorrow, we've got Mark Kennedy coming on. And I know for a fact, Mark Kennedy loves fast glasses. So tomorrow's the first pair of fast glasses. They're called Blankster. These are my own. I bought these. So they're pretty cool. I think they're so comfy. I had them at disc golf today, but it didn't help. I was rubbish.
I was just about to say, maybe if you'd wear them, they'd help you, but apparently you got rubbish results with them on, so I don't really know what to tell you.
I need to take them off, I think.
Maybe you do, or maybe you need to try something else. Not this
let's leave that. So what's the challenge for tomorrow?
Yes. So for tomorrow's challenge, we want you guys to take a curling-inspired summer picture and to send it to the camp Instagram. And as always, you have till 12 a.m. Stockholm time to send it in the coming day. And the prizes are the same: a fantastic hardline broom and a pair of glasses, a pair of really fast glasses from Spectrum Eyewear. Well, yeah, those things that James are pointing to, both of those up for grabs.
Well, one thing about the glasses, they were that fast today. I didn't break any records for scoring at the disc golf, but we did break a record for how fast we got round. It only took us 65 minutes for 18 holes. So we were lightning.
Did you rage quit? Is that why?
Did what?
Did you rage quit?
Rage quit? No, I didn't rage quit. I've got my cool glasses. I've got my cool glasses on. I'm cool. I wouldn't rage quit about anything.
I bet. Awesome. So I'd also like to give a reminder that the Unicorn Cup, if you're planning on submitting an entry, which I really encourage you to do, as we've mentioned, fabulous prize up for grabs, getting your name on the tankard and color in a part of the unicorn, please send in your submissions by the end of the session on Thursday, which is already coming up tomorrow. So good luck with all of that. And if you're having issues cramming everything into a 1-minute video, we'll give you some extra time, but just make sure to split up the different elements into different videos that are less than 1 minute long so that you can send it to us on Instagram. We'd love to have everything focused on one platform, makes it easier for us to look through.
So perhaps 30 seconds per element.
Yes, we'll say that.
It was the presentation of your partner, your celebration when you win the world championship. What a great idea that was. And the Ice Baby. We didn't play that today. I forgot that.
We didn't know.
Gee,
perhaps we should end today's session with that.
I will end today's session with it. Perfect.
You need to give the people what they want. That's all they're here for.
That's all they're here for, exactly. So let's round off because we're 2 minutes over time. Remember, we've got the parent coach session on tonight. We've got most of the parents and coaches online. One issue, the first issue we've had all week, David Murdoch has had to pull out. Unfortunately, had to pull out. But we've got the coach from the reigning mixed doubles world champions and Olympic silver medalist. So we keep the Olympic theme going. Greg Drummond, who was the third player for David Murdoch when they won the silver in Sochi, he's going to be coming on together with Maria Pritz later on. So Greg has come to save the day. He's our hero. And tomorrow, don't forget, we've got Mark Kennedy coming on. The man that loves the fast glasses. We've got more League of Legends, the final League of Legends with Wayne Madaw. Amazing guy. I'll tell you more about him tomorrow. We've got the social media competitions, and remember to get your entries in for the Unicorn Doubles Cup. Right, let's finish off strong with the camp song. Hold on, here we go. I'm gonna get this on. Curling with no ice, ice baby. I was playing that today when I was on the golf. Okay, on the disc golf. Are you ready, everyone? Here it is. We'll finish the session with the Ice Ice Baby. No, I forgot to press that button. Here we go. I'll do it one more time. All right, here we go. We're in, everyone. Just in case you need a reminder how it sounds.
Curling with no ice, ice baby. Welcome to NJCT. All right, stop. Come to teams and listen. James and his friends with all their wisdom. Though it hasn't been doing so fine, so we've had to come do this camp online. Will COVID stop? Yeah, we don't know. We've been doing this for 2 years in a row. Curling with no ice, ice baby. Welcome to NJCT.
Excellent. Good man, Keir. You saved the day for us. Jacob, thanks for today. James Craig, thanks for today. Peter, thanks for today. Happy birthday to Karen. Anna Hasselborg, thanks for today. Kate Caithness, thanks for today. Everyone, thanks for today. And we'll see you on the other side tomorrow at 4 o'clock Stockholm time. Coach Parents tonight. Glasses are up for the winning. Adios, amigos.